Listen, I'm very much a nerd, very much a dork, very much a fucking weeb. So if there's anything superhero related that came out from 2001 to present, I most likely have seen it and have an opinion on it. But there's one movie that I think doesn't get talked about enough. It doesn't really get talked about amongst the Marvel giant and the DC nightmare. A film that has the early 2000s feel to it, has those practical effects, has the likable characters with fucking consequences. That film is...
How come nobody's ever tried to be a superhero?
Well, I don't know. Probably because it's impossible.
That was kick-ass. Oh, shit!
Kick-Ass is one of those movies that brings me back. One of those movies that layers itself with comic references and heart, that I just love everything about it. This is a movie that has passion behind it. This is a movie made by comic fans for comic fans. This is a movie that's campy, gory, and an absolute blast. You know they say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the first film that feels like a comic book come to life. But to me, this movie was the first. From the literal comic art transitions to the line delivery.
Good at getting his ass kicked. He should call himself Ass Kick instead.
That doesn't even make sense.
To the fucking action, it feels like it was ripped straight from the fucking comics and they put the panel as the damn storyboards and I fucking love it. Kick-Ass is about a kid named Dave Lazuski, an average kid, no tragic backstory, no...
I will avenge you, father! You're out of luck.
No radioactive powers, just a kid who wants to help. Long story short, he gets involved with the D'Amico crime family because they think he's been stealing their coke and guns and shit. But in reality, it's another crime-fighting vigilante duo, Big Daddy and Hit Girl, an ex-cop who wants revenge for the D'Amico crime family putting him in jail, and a dude that dresses up like Batman and murks people like Deadpool. Hit Girl, a foul-mouthed girl who is basically an assassin that has no fear. Shit starts to go down, and I am all in for it. To me, this movie captures the essence of cringeworthy early 2000s movies. Movies full of jokes.
Ass kick instead.
And comedy, but also have the real factor. Movies that make you feel the passion behind them. Movies like this make it very easy to spot when a movie doesn't have passion behind it. When a movie is rushed just to put something out there for the studios to hit that deadline and make that cold hard cash. Honestly, being completely honest, completely transparent, I miss this. I miss when the directors, cinematographers, cast, and crew were in control. Obviously the companies are still there, but now instead of these movies being used to tell serious stories that can be goofy at times but still get to the point, I feel like I'm seeing less and less of that these days, and it sucks. But on another note, Kick-Ass is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, superhero movies. There's no multiverse, there's no CG battle, it's just the directors, the cast, the crew, and the story. These characters, these moments where you can feel the raw impact of these characters and what they feel. Big Daddy's death scene still hits me to this day. We get to see these characters grow in small ways, and in big ways too, and that's what makes it hurt when they get taken away. We feel what they feel.
So do you think it's about time then that perhaps superhero films were recognised at, you know, Oscars and awards?
Back in its time, Ben-Hur was a superhero film. You know, they were spectacle, they were action, it was... yeah, I think the balance needs to come back from just because it's a worthy subject matter.
My man. Listen, I wanted to take a moment and talk about Matthew Vaughn. The Matthew Vaughn. The man who directed this masterpiece as well as Kingsman and X-Men First Class. Someone who instead of trying to appeal to everyone in his films, he tries to appeal to the selected audience he wants from his films. Here, I'll let the man himself explain.
And just how vital is it that audiences have films of this ilk where they can just go into the cinema and just enjoy themselves for 90 minutes or, 100 minutes?
For me, I think that's the only reason to watch a film. I'm not... I mean, most of the movies are nominated for Oscars put me to sleep. They're like TV films, I thought. And not Oscars for BAFTAs or whatever, but they'll probably get the Oscar nominations as well. But I'm a sort of filmmaker that grew up in the 70s, and I watched Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and I was just sat there exhilarated and having the time of my life in the cinema, and I want to continue that tradition.
This movie is amazing. From the story beats to the characters to the corniness, I love it. It feels less like a studio was involved or pulling the strings. Instead, Matthew and his team did what they did, they made what they made, and now it is one of the best, if not the best, superhero movies of all time. I love you all. See you in the next one.
Hey yo, this video kicks ass.